Welcome to Be in Tune. Join me, your host Darian, and my producer Joab, as we have conversations that deepen our connection with our higher power, ourselves, and the world around us. So, get ready to tune in, turn up that volume, and welcome to the Be in Tune podcast. Hello, we're back. Woo! Joab, we are back.
Very
Hello,
good.
everyone. I am your host, Darian, and we have my producer, Joab. Go
You
ahead, please
already
say
know.
hello to the people.
What up? What up? What's going on, y'all?
I like it. I like it. I just told Joab before this, I was like, I just want to take it chill. You know what I mean? Because like we're back. It's been a minute. We're dusting it off a little bit, dusting off the mics. I'm literally dusting off my surface because this pollen is ridiculous. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't have been outside, but it was just so enticing. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
felt nature was calling me.
No, low key. I hopped in and I saw the background. I'm like, is this a virtual background or something? But I'm like, no, that's legit. That's the real thing.
You know, I actually did. And I tell you this? I got interviewed for a podcast like a couple of weeks ago.
Wait, what? Wait, no, I didn't know this.
Listen, this is okay, everyone. For those of you who are tuning in and those of you who have returned, welcome back to another episode of the Be in Tune podcast. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, we welcome you. We hope that you enjoy our chat and our banter because that's just what we do. Welcome to a podcast where this is about faith, mental health, and community. And so it's been a while since Joab and I have literally done this. And we're just literally catching up with one another. Like we try to catch up with one another, like obviously off of a hot mic, you know what I mean, and no camera pointing in our face. But homeboy is busy. I just want to throw that out there to the people that homeboy is busy. Okay.
Whoa.
And
First
then
of
I'm
all,
also busy
okay,
too.
okay.
I'm also busy as well. Like I can't just say it's just him. I'm also there as well. But yeah, like in our catch up here, like, oh yeah, I could have sworn I texted you, but I don't think I did. I got interviewed for a podcast, and they asked me to join. It's called Town Square Talk. And their specific series, Ageless Wisdom. Two fantastic ladies, Pearl and Pat. And so they've been in like the business game and consulting game for like a minute. And, you know, for mental health awareness, they were like, who's a therapist that we know that we can interview? And Pearl, fun fact, used to be my yoga instructor. So she reached out to me and asked me to be on her podcast. And the reason why I bring this up, it was not to promote, but it's always good to promote. But also, they wanted like a fun green background. And I was in my office and I was like, dang it. I was only in my house. I know a perfect spot that I could sit. But I had this kind of like similar background, but of course it was whatever Zoom offered. So it's nice. It's nice to know I didn't have to do that. It's just nice to know that I could just plot myself and just be like, here we go.
Yeah, you got the natural like background. You need a virtual background. Who needs the AI backgrounds?
AI. We'll talk about it.
Don't even get me started.
I feel like it's like it's the can of worms that, you know, maybe we don't want to open up here on our first episode back.
No, definitely not. I'm the fan when it comes to technology and AI. Yeah, but it gets to a point. It definitely gets to a point.
I'm right there with you. I literally stand on the two aisles, and some people look at me like I'm like on other side. They look at me as like as a hater, as a betrayer, you know, all of that, and I'm just like, pros and cons, baby, pros and cons. That's all I gotta say.
For sure.
So Joab, okay, so in the, you know, to kind of move us along here and to kind of get really into it, what have you been up to? Because I did tell the people that you just been busy with a capital B, everyone. With a capital B.
Ooh, man. Man, man. Okay.
It's been a while since your bearded face has been on this camera, so let's go.
Yeah, no lie. I think it's crazy because even my beard went through several transformations too. So like,
Oh, for
it's been a
reals?
minute. Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, okay, so I feel like honestly the best place to kind of start and progress along is like at the end of our last recording. So like
Mhm.
season 2 ended where we had our dear friend Patrice. Shout out to Patrice. Um, come
Patrice.
on,
We
Patrice.
love you,
Come
Patrice.
on.
Wait, you
Love
need
you,
to give
love
her
you.
like the little press the button. Press the button to
Wait, nah, I gotta find the button.
yes.
Wait. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I totally forgot about the buttons too. Dang, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. Patrice, we love you and definitely come
Love
back.
you, girl.
Okay.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, so like with that last recording, I think that was back in like early December. Um, that video went out. And then as always, as we always do, we would go on like a winter break. And then we would plan to come back usually sometime like early winter. But what happened, at least for me, was I think, and it kind of set the tone for the rest of 2026 for me, was the passing of my friend that I grew up with from church. And that was a lot for me because he was murdered,
Yeah.
and I won't get into like the details of it, but he was
Yeah.
murdered and
Yeah.
like taken suddenly. um and I think from seeing everything on the news, social media, it was hard to escape. Like I think that definitely wore a lot on me.
Yeah.
um and then we had his funeral, and he was murdered Christmas Day. Had his funeral beginning of January after New Year's. And then I think we had planned to meet in February. And I remember you were saying like, hey, like if you need more time, like it's just definitely understandable. And usually I'll push through it. But I think this time
Yeah.
I definitely took you up on your offer because like it was a lot. It definitely was a
Yeah.
lot. So
Yeah.
I think that's when we agreed, okay, like if need be, we can make this like a spring thing. We'll launch it in the spring. That's the goal. So I'm like, okay, at least that'll give me the months to like just be and grieve.
Yeah.
Um, so took that time to really sit and process it out, sit with my therapist to process it out. Um, at the same time too, work started to pick up where I'm taking a lot more responsibilities at work, leading out more research and development meetings, on projects. So the work side was also ramping up too. But then also what was also ramping up was, and this is like a big one for me at least, was leading out the men's ministry group with our virtual community church, BTM. And we've spoken about BTM so many times on this podcast. Um,
Shout out to
but
BTM.
yeah, facts. Shout out to BTM. I got to get the merch and everything too.
I wish you
But
told me that you were gonna wear merch. I would have worn my bucket hat.
it's too, isn't it too hot? This wind is probably gonna blow off your head.
Oh, for sure. And not gonna lie, like the hair is hearing today. So I'm just
Yeah.
like we're not messing with that. But anyways, back to you. Back to you.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely can't mess up the hair. The look is looking okay. So
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. The look is looking.
the
Thank
look
you.
is looking. That's a new one. That's a new one. Um, but yeah, like with the men's ministry group, since young, I've always like desired to be in a men's group, but it just stopped there. It's just like there was always a desire to be in one, but there was never a desire to lead one out because of course that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But there was never one available for me that kind of catered towards like my specific needs. And I just remember my bro, shout out Clifton the GOAT, that's my boy. Um yeah,
Ooh,
he
Clifton.
shout out Clifton for real, for real. He reached out and he was like, listen, like I had this idea of like starting this group. And he reached out to me because he really thought like, like we're both like like-minded men in BTM. and go getters, and like to really like put our foot down and like really start something and sustain it. So I was like, honestly, like I like the vision. Um, and I was a bit apprehensive because again, like the workload and everything that I was going with. But I think he honestly, he sold it pretty well. I think that's what really got me. It was like how he sold it. But yeah, like since we started that, that was back in March that we started it. And it's been a blessing. We've had a consistent group of guys come by and really just learn to be vulnerable and like share with each other and like be accountable for each other in the meetings and outside of the meetings. So it's really been a lot of growth. Um, but on the outside of that, like a lot of preparation, a lot of uh, behind the scenes work, but also a lot of behind the scenes struggles and spiritual attacks too, which I think Darren, I've even mentioned a few of them. Like I've really gotten to me mentally and like made me not feel safe. So
Yeah.
not safe, not feeling safe at work or in my house or in my car, like just a lot of that. So um, yeah, so I guess to keep this concise, I think how I'm here now is this things still remain, like the spiritual attacks, the men's ministry, and honestly, like, I kind of would even say part of the grief still, at least that's what my therapist kind of says. Like all that still remains. Um and like I think what brings me here is like was what kind of started all of this, was like the start of the idea of the podcast and the start of um promoting like mental health, spirituality, and community. Because at the end of the day, that's kind of how we met. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's like although like the things are busy, like I am kind of hoping and faithful, like because this is like important, like all this will kind of be sustainable as well. So yeah, but that's how things have been. I left out a few key details. I mean, definitely, I may be which is also adding to my work bucket, but I may be
You don't even want to say it. You don't even want to say. I'm looking at you like, mm-hmm. But at the same time, you do you. I listen. You do you.
I feel like I have to
You could
say
just
it. I
drop
can't.
one cent. Yet you do have to say it now. At this point, now
That's fair.
someone's
That's
like,
fair.
just say it. But one sentence is enough. I'm just throwing that
That's
out there. One
that's fair.
sentence is enough. Okay.
That's fair. I may be in a relationship. I maybe I am in a relationship, so that also adds to the the load. I'd say the busy load. So there's that. So again, all the stuff combined, right? Um, yeah, that's what Darian's referring to when she's saying the busyness. I can't.
I can't. When I'm not gonna lie, it was the sentence of like, and one of the most big things that's been happening in my life. And I was like, oh, is he gonna? Oh, and then you said men's ministry, and I said, oh, well, of course, that's I would like this, of course, that's very very important.
You're like, of course. That's exactly what I thought he was going to say.
Listen, but I hear you, and like I said, one sentence is enough, so we'll just like leave it at that, you know. But our boy here is smitten while playing badminton. You know what I'm saying?
That's great. What happened to one sentence? That's crazy.
That was a sentence. That was I'm sorry, one sentence for you and one sentence for me. That's it. That's all I had to
Oh
say.
wow. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Joab, a lot indeed has happened, and I was so proud of you. First of all, I just want to genuinely tell you this. Like I've been so proud of you these like last few months, and I know I'm sentimental, but I'm not as sentimental as I think I need to be in some situations. And January, like when I told you, I was like, if you need time, you take it. The fact that you took it, it's true. You would have pushed through. You genuinely would have
Yeah.
pushed through. And you said that on the phone with me. You're like, part of me is like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna push through. And I said, but bro, you sure? And I will never forget it. You paused and you're like, you know what? We're gonna do something different. You're right. I'm not gonna push through because, oh man, that was a tragedy. It's tragedy,
Mm,
like what happened, and still keeping the family in prayer. Because how does one ever really recover for something like that? They
mm,
don't. And I, not to really go up in your business, but I witnessed how it genuinely affected you, and so therefore I was very proud of you when you said, I can't do this, like not right now, like if we can hold off, then let's hold off. And I
mm,
said, great. And then I was proud of you, of course, in, other areas of your life, where you make some moves. And then when you started doing this men's thing, oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I just lost Joe up to the men's ministry. I was like, look at him. I said, well, Lord, you have your people. We have times and seasons. Now I'm quoting Ecclesiastes to myself. I was like, Ecclesiastes is a season for everything.
I'm done. Not a time for everything under the sun.
It is a time, like there's nothing new under the sun. It is a time for everything. I was like a time to be born and a time to die. Like legit. And
Cannot.
I found myself going through like some emotional ups and downs because of it. And let's go now on my side of things. Like what was happening in the
Hmm.
last few months because it kind
Please.
of touched. Oh, you're excited for this one. I know
Oh
you
yeah.
are.
Oh, well, 1000%. First, you talk about me, the amount of stuff I went through. I think just the amount of stuff that you had mentioned that was going on in the background, and there were several stuff, Darian. There were several. So yeah.
Yes, there were. Do you want to announce? Do you want to state one of the things, the big things that you know?
I cannot take your glory. That is all you. That is all you.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised because listen, ladies and gentlemen, he would have jumped at this one. So one of the newer things that's happened in my life, and I swear, Joab has been proud of me, but this made Papa Joab like so super proud.
So damn proud. So proud.
I became an adjunct professor at a
Come
local
on.
college.
Come on. Say that again for the people in the back. Professor
Ah,
Darian, come on.
stop. I told you I don't even let my students call me that. Can you believe it? My students. First of all, they seem to still like me. They're still taking me. So
Hey, and how many semesters has it been now?
it's only been one school year. It's only been 2 semesters. So the time is still young.
Y'all see how she just downplays that? That's great. First of all, that's a lot. We're talking about college kids. That's a lot. Okay.
It is actually graduate students to be more specific. Yeah.
Even worse. Even worse. Even worse.
No, listen, though, not gonna lie, like even though they don't know I do this, and because I don't really, obviously in my classes, I'm not advertising who I am, but it genuinely very Googleable, to be honest with you, right?
Hmm.
I I I have to admit, I was very impressed with some of these graduate students. Like they were really like stepping up, and I see how passionate they are, and so I wish them nothing but the absolute best. So absolute nothing but the absolute best. Because they're just the class. First of all, was a learning curve for everyone here, the professor included. Because so I had that going on. I had imperfectly tuned turned
Hmm.
3 years old this
Come
year, the
on.
beginning.
Come on.
So there's that. I what else? I feel like there was something else. No, I think those are two pretty big things that happened.
Hmm.
But also along with all of that came a lot of emotional trials. One thing that I really discovered, and I'm still discovering in this season. Um, Granted, we physically have changed seasons here in the Northeast, right? Because now we're soon entering summer. We're technically still in spring. That's wild, but we're
Which is
soon
crazy.
entering. Yeah, it is crazy. But what I've been learning so far in 2026 is that I think I finally it clicked to me how the devil really does attack me, and it's like the emotional stuff. See, I
Mm.
really thought that my emotional sensitivity, I've always viewed it as a weakness, you know, as like a curse and all of that. And for the work that I do, it comes in incredibly handy, like to the point that it's like, okay, this is a gift. But at the same time, those of us who are very highly emotional sensitive, baby, you got to protect yourself. Like, you got to learn how to put up a wall. You got to learn how to talk things out. You got to learn how to journal, like therapy, everyone. Like, seriously, go to it. Uh, Learn to have healthy relationships. And when things get murky in your relationships, learn to talk about it. Like, Joab, you're like one of my closest friends. And I love having you as a friend because you welcome the
Oh.
tough conversations. You're just like, let's go. Even though you're like, I don't like this either. You'll tell me, you're like, I don't like this either. But let's talk about it. And yo,
Mhm.
he's still polite. When Joab is upset with you, he still manages to be polite. I love that.
Wait, that's funny because honestly, I don't. I'm not the type of, yeah. Because you're so right about that. I'm not the type of person to like bash somebody. I'll just politely be like, I hear you. I just also think maybe this could be done a bit better. But
He
though, yeah,
does.
I
Or
digress.
when you were really getting into it, you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is making me feel a type of way. And it's still like the way he communicates it, I'm like, well, damn you. Like, why do you gotta be so polite? Like, no, I have to be like, not actual damn you, but you know what I mean? Like, dang
Mhm,
it.
mhm, mhm.
And it's like, use your effective communication skills. But anyways, I'm digressing. I'm digressing. So I've been through a lot of like emotional ups and downs. I'm gonna be really transparent about this. Loneliness has really been kicking my butt. Like, that is the thing that's been hitting left and right over and over again. Um, and one thing that I'll definitely share, I don't want to get too specific into it, too deep into it. I think I already got transparent enough. But I will never forget, I was talking to my own therapist and I was like, how many times am I going to ask the same question, go through the same mental thing, have the same narrative, have the same beliefs? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I was fed up. Yo, shout out to my therapist. Like, I like her a lot. And um, she goes, you know, we could ask those questions, but I think what I'm really hearing is you bashing that girl. Like, imagine like we're in the court of law and you're the lawyer, and that girl, aka you, the one who's made some changes, the one who's grown, the one who's made mistakes, you are raking her through the coals. Like,
Mm.
you are being tough. So she said it in a very loving and stern Jamaican accent. She went like, listen, we can talk about all the other things that you brought about, but you will not rake that poor girl through that coals. You will learn to like her and love her and protect her.
Mm.
And I said, and I was like, dang it, she's right. But one of my favorite sessions by far. And honestly, I'm being transparent here, right? Because I know people who do listen to this, right? um, I think there's a very common misconception that those of us who are in the mental health field, that we somehow have to get it together. I think it shocks people when we're like human. I know it shocks those who I work with when I have human moments. And here's the thing, yo, we out here, we struggling. We're out here struggling, and I don't know about y'all, but 2026 has just shown itself over and over again how the world is broken, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better.
Mm.
So, what are we going to do? Continue to contribute to the disasters, to the messed up things that are happening in 2026? Specifically, contribute to those negative core beliefs that you have about yourself and that negative narrative? Or are we finally going to say, yo, I call it a quits? Like, the world can go to hell you know, for all I care. Well, I do care. But the world itself can get messed up. But my personal world, or as Joshua says in the book, in the Bible. As for me and my house, we will worship the Lord, and I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to change. I'm going to make sure that my internal world is actually better and healthier. And I think that that is a choice that we're all faced with. And that's been my choice for like 2026. Are you still going to give in to the negative narratives? Are you still going to give into this like intense loneliness? Are you still going to keep pushing God away? Are you still going to continue repeating the same behaviors? Or are we going to try to do something different here, something better, and grow and be a better person and have healthier relationships and such? So I said a lot.
You said enough. Like, you said enough. And honestly, Darian, I'm just so proud of you. Like, you say you're proud of me, but like, I'm just so proud of you because like I even remember the apprehension. Oh my gosh, the apprehension was there, bro. Like the apprehension to, are you going to be a good professor? Like, are your students going to like you? Like, how you, it's, you're more of a free flow, and how do you like, manage with like a specific structure? Like, there were just so many like thoughts you were going through when you were like getting enrolled into that process of being an adjunct professor. And I'm just sitting there just like, Darren, what are you talking about? Like, you do this. Like, it may not be in that capacity as of like a professor, but like you teach, you in a sense mentor, right? So it's like you have the skills there. So it's like now seeing you out there after a year while doing your practice too. Yeah, just so proud. Um,
Mm.
like I know it was difficult for that adjustment for the enhanced workload too.
Yeah.
Because running a business alongside being a professor is a lot of work. I did not choose to go down the professor route. I admire it, but I did not want to go down the route because I know it is a lot of work. So for you to be committed to both is a lot, you know. Um, I feel like you did say you said a lot, but I feel like there were maybe a few more parts that I would definitely say we're missing. And
Oh,
I'm
oh,
gonna have to
was
I'm gonna
there?
have to call this out. I feel
Oh no.
like towards the end of this, we can call it a 6 month period because it was from December to now,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
June, right before summer. I feel like towards the end of that 6 months period, there was this new, or not even new, there was this more um eager, like energetic version of you that was like you were just hungry for growth in your business, growth to get things done, like management wise, time management wise, but also growth for the podcast. Like I think the amount of ideas that like you had. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to figure out like, dang, like how do I manage all of this? Like I'm just like, oh my gosh. But meanwhile, you were just like this idea. And if y'all even peep from Mike, peep the mic. Like it's even she got a new mic. She had a new headset too. Like,
I know it matches with my outfit. That's what I love about
right,
this.
right. We're like yin and yang for real.
Hey, it's ebony and ivory, okay?
I'm done. Yeah, you're right. That'd be an ivory. But for real though, like
Yeah.
there was just there's overall there was just an eagerness. So yeah, I feel like just so much. Like we talk about the growth, like that was a lot like on you, but like you literally rose from that and went through that, 2 whole semesters.
Hi. Just want to interrupt our conversation. Okay. I'm glad that you're tuning in and I hope you are enjoying our conversation. But I just wanted to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Imperfectly Tuned Counseling. Yes, my mental health therapy practice. As you know, the Being Two podcast is an extension of it. But I don't know if you know this, but Imperfectly Tuned Counseling offers mental health services and coaching services. I know it's a lot. If you are in Massachusetts, as the practice is based in the state, right? Please consider reaching out if you are looking for mental health therapy services. I offer individual counseling, and so we'll love to have a connection and a chat with you. Also, if you're not based in Massachusetts, but you're looking for something broader, something that can help you move you along into the next step, or if you're just looking to bring in some mental health conversations within your communities, within your churches, within your organizations, reach out. And in Perfectly Tuned, I offered also coaching and mental health first aid. Yes, if you don't know about mental health first aid, then reach out. Be more than happy to have that conversation with you. Imperfectly Tuned Counseling, you can learn more about it at imperfectlytuned.com. Again, imperfectlytuned.com. And if you are liking this episode, and if you've liked all of our episodes, which I hope you have, then please hit the like button and subscribe. Like, what are we doing? Just hit the button. I have no idea where the button is. It's down here, to the left, to the right. Doesn't matter. Just hit that subscribe button and be part of the Intune family. Okay, now let's get back to our conversation. Remember, be in tune. Can we just talk about the reality of growth for a second? I think this there's a
Yeah.
there's a topic coming up here in our catch up. Um, you said that I had all this energy and I was craving growth. This is so true. I really was. I was hungry for it. I've never been that hungry for it. And the amount of text messages that I would send Joab on some ideas, and every single time we talk, I think Joab stopped talking to me because he knew I was going to talk about the podcast. Like, he was just
Mm,
like, I don't want to bring this up.
that's fair.
Like, she's going to come up with like 50,000 new ideas. And mind you, you're going through your own, like your own transitions, your own changes. But here's what I think is a reality about growth and a growth mindset. It's great to have a growth mindset. It's so great. It's so great to, like, in the Bible, like, we saw people asking for blessings, right? For God to come through and all that. But you know what we don't genuinely talk about? The hurdles, the
Hmm.
pains that comes, the actual literal growing pains, the refining that's happening. Like, on social media, we advertise growth big time. We like to throw out little videos and reels, and it's like, listen, you just gotta stay consistent. You gotta stay disciplined. 5 a.m. wake up times are the best. You're gonna do amazing. And it's like, no one is actually showing the video of like how many times you snooze that alarm to wake up at 5 a.m. No one is showing the videos of like how freaking painful it was after that gym session and how you sore the next 2 days because you wanted to go ham or go super hard in the gym, but you don't even have the endurance for it. You don't have
Mm,
the build up for it. And I got to take it down because I'm getting a little too passionate. It's just what I'm saying is like I desired that growth so bad, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I was kidding myself on how what a toll it was gonna take, and it's still taking. I only done
mm,
1 year, right? I'm still learning and growing what it is to be a professor, not just a professor, a good professor. Because you know what? My students are putting themselves into debt or they're spending their hard earned money to try to get their education. You better dang well believe that I'm going to come and bring my best. And I got to learn and how to grow and how to do that. I got my business. So people who are interested in my business, clients that they're spending their hard earned money, right? Or, and in their time, I got to make sure that I bring my level best to that. And in order to do that, it just takes it's so much. And then when you dedicate yourself to the betterment of others, or like you want to show people kindness, help them grow, show them Jesus along the way, then you got another dude that's out here pissed off at the world, aka the devil, out here trying to attack you left and right. Then you're facing hurdles. And we just generally don't talk about the literal growing pains
mhm,
of growth. We don't talk about it enough. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If some people desire a certain growth, but if they knew all the steps that they was going to take, there's a reason why God doesn't tell us the plans. Because if
mhm.
we knew, how many of us would not even bother to take the first step towards growth? Like,
It's
if I
true.
legit knew how much I was going to hate grading, would I legit have applied for this job? I mean, at the
It's
end of the day,
fair.
I think I probably would have because I'm like, listen, we got to push ourselves. But it's just we desire growth. I desired growth so bad, but I it did not value, it did not see, it did not even take into account the literal growing pains and the steps that it takes to get to that growth. And
Hmm.
also, I am a true visionary and I want to get from point A to point Z right away. I want to skip the 25 steps that are in between. When in reality, it is point A, point B, or sometimes it's a point A1, and then a point A2B, and then you get to a point B. Like,
Yeah.
is that making
No,
sense?
that makes complete sense. Yeah. I mean, if I could add to that, I feel like with the growth, like again, this 6 month span definitely emphasizes like the growth because like you say like the energy, like the amount of energy even needed to pour into all these different buckets. It's hard to pour into those buckets if you don't have a capacity of energy to pour into them. Or what I had to learn is like you don't enlarge your capacity. And I feel like for me to do that, I really had to be tapped in with God. Like, and I think that's the hardest part because the growth it is that stretching process. You're going to be stretched, but you need to be stretched because that's the only way you have more capacity for to pour into more things. Otherwise, you just end up depleted. Because I think what I was doing before was like pouring into all these things that I love to do, but like I just like you, I wanted to get from point A to Z, but like I did it. I wanted to bypass all those other steps. And you kind of have to go through that stretching process because that's what prepares you to have the capacity to then, you know, manage all these things. And I kept telling God, like, God, listen, if you're giving me all this stuff, like, I'm gonna need you to make time for me to do all this stuff. And it's like I'm realizing, like, no, like he's answering my prayer. He is giving me access to be able to manage all this stuff, but it's like I'm also stopping myself because I'm not allowing myself to be stretched in that process because it's uncomfortable or it's hard for me to sit in that to like to be stretched. Um and like yeah, to your point, dear, and it's like that growth ain't pretty. There were several nights where I was literally like crying, frustrated because just like again, not feeling safe, like wanted to get out of this stretching process. Literally like just all of that. But like it's necessary because without that, you really can't handle what's coming up next. Um, so I definitely get it. That growth, that stretching process is not easy at all. So I think it's interesting, like you say, like it's not something that people would gravitate towards because yeah, who would want to gravitate towards that? You know, who would want to? It
Yeah.
doesn't seem attractive.
Yeah. And there's some people that actually come around to that idea and they're like, no, I have to gravitate towards that because if I am really going to get there, then I need to do this. It's okay though if you're that type of person that's like, nah, man, I'm good. I don't want any of this. I'm all right. It just also speaks to the fact that there's just a level of responsibility to that next step. When you get to that goal, there's a level of responsibility. I think actually Uncle Ben said it best in Spider-Man, with great power comes what? Great responsibility. Yo, when
Mm-hmm.
God be out here blessing you, don't you think there's gonna be some serious responsibilities with that blessing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 1000%. 1000%. Yeah.
Yeah. This is stuff I'm still working on though, by the way. I just want to just throw it out there. I do not have this figured out. And also, who knows what my tune is going to be 6 months from now. I've just but that's just at least my this is my perception, right? Of like what 2026 has brought. Like it's brought some really awesome things and a lot of growth, a lot of like challenging moments. And yeah, for you, like I hear you when you said like I sometimes I'd be crying, like literal tears just with for all of this. I'm right there with you, bro. You know what's so
Mm-hmm.
interesting? if I can kind of put us on the spot just a smidge, right? It's that both you and I, we were going through our tough times. And then you know what? I think a lot of us as humans, we do that. We kind of tend to go into ourselves a little bit more and not really go lean into our communities and such. Because I don't know about you, but my mindset was everyone's out here busy and they got their own thing going on. I don't want to be a bother, and I
Mm,
think I'm being too much.
hmm. Yeah, for sure. Definitely moments like that, for sure. Yeah, which is
Hmm.
kind of crazy because then I cultivated this whole group of men, which that's what it's built for. So how am I not utilizing the one thing that I cultivated for that reason? Well, I think it just goes to show that's such a ingrained mechanism where it's like we just regress back into that shell.
Yeah. So if I may, I want to actually like kind of teach, throw a little skill here, a little psychological skill. Um, as some of you know, I have a foundational training in dialectical behavioral therapy, also known as DBT, which is the therapy that essentially you learn a whole bunch of skills about doing this thing called opposites, holding on to opposites, acceptance and change, right? So you always got to practice some mindfulness and acceptance when you do this therapy, and then you also got to do some changing. Like, listen, we trying to grow out here. That's great. We could accept all the trials, but we also got to learn how to deal with the trials and handle them better. And one thing that I had been telling myself these last 6 months is opposite action. So every single time I got faced with like a hard moment, like intense loneliness, or I just wanted to, um, yeah, the intense loneliness, or I just wanted to sit in like in my negative space, I'd just be like opposite action. Go do something that is going to help move that emotion along and change it into something different. So when I wanted to be lonely, I had to teach myself to reach out, to like text, to call someone, text someone, or or at times that was a lot of times of me just like picking up my Bible and like going to my little corner and pray. And I'm like, well, I gotta lean into someone here. I'm gonna have to lean into the Lord, right? Or if I just didn't really genuinely want to do anything and I just wanted to watch all the Korean dramas. That's another thing I've discovered in 2026. Korean dramas. Joab is smiling, but he's also like, oh dear God.
Yeah.
It's, hey, they're amazing. I don't know why you're making that face. Joab, I see your literal judgment in your eyes. It's on your face.
I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing. Please
Listen,
continue.
don't be hating on my Korean dramas. Kamsahamnida. Okay,
Kamsamida.
thank
I
you.
knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that, bro. Like that's crazy. I literally said that in my head too because I knew you were gonna say that.
Day. Day. That means right. Yes.
I'm
Day.
done. I'm
Okay.
done.
Joab at one point goes, wait a minute, aren't you trying to learn Italian? When did you switch up and started to learn Korean? And I said,
No, for real.
and he's like, are you learning that on Duolingo? I'm like, no, I just watch too much Korean dramas. Got me like a chokehold.
That's
But,
crazy.
or it was just like, I'm just not going to do anything. And I'm just going to binge watch my Korean dramas and just not do anything. It's like opposite actions. You will reward yourself with one episode of a Korean drama after you do X, Y, and Z. Like, get up, let's go. It's time to go work out. It's time to go for a walk. It's time to go grab the headphones and go for a walk. Listen, let's let's cue the favorite playlist here, and let's just go. So that's opposite action is a skill, a literal DBT skill that comes from this theory that for every emotion that we experience, there is an action associated with it that we have, and it's the emotion urges us to engage in that action. So it's like your brain's already cultivated this thinking pattern, this neural pathway that when you feel intense sadness, typically speaking, for some folks, when they feel intense sadness, they have the urge to engage in the action of isolating, right? Not connecting with people. So therefore, DBT is like, is this behavior going to be helpful? If it's not, then let's do the opposite of it, which is to connect, right? To show up, go to that family party, go to the cafe, right? You just go to a cafe and just bring your phone and order yourself a nice, like, frappuccino or latte or whatever and just sit there and at least allow yourself to be immersed around people. Make sure you have it in your budget because things are getting highly expensive nowadays, right?
Hmm.
Or is it just to go ahead and grab your headphones and go sit in the park and like connect? But the point is, it's like that's what I loved about this skill. It was just like constantly reminding myself, like opposite action. Let's go. I still can feel the intense feelings, but I'm engaging in an action that's moving the emotions along. So just wanted
Yeah.
to be be a bit of a psych nerd there and share that.
No, that's real. Like that's the difficult part is like, and even if you aren't familiar with like going against the grain, like the opposite action, I feel like it still feels daunting because it's like, and I'll use myself for an example. Like when I was going through all that I was going through, and like again, just mentally, physically, spiritually, just not feeling safe, no matter where I went. Um, it's like okay, like like you have this group of people who have the capacity and capabilities of pouring into you, but it's like everything inside of you is, of course, telling you like not to do it. It's almost as like okay, we know to do opposite action, but then it's like that push to then engage into it. And I feel like that first hurdle, and I feel like this is what we spoke about a while ago, where it's
Yeah.
like on the other side of that door is your breakthrough. But it's that's the biggest pushback you get um is that one door. And it's a huge pushback. But again, on the other side is that breakthrough, is that healing. Um but yeah, it's such a daunting experience because it's like there's so many feelings that come up. And I know for me, a lot of feelings that came up would be like they figure out like, dang, like maybe I'm weak, maybe I'm not as manly as I might portray in a men's group, or like whatever the case is. I feel like we come up with like so many different scenarios in our head. But yeah, I think getting past that first door is such a big step because once you do that, it's like again, you got an influx of people that are just readily available to support you. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. You do. I also want to speak to the fact that we can think that and we do that, and then when we reach out and the person doesn't respond in the way that we hope, that can get tough. That can get
Mhm.
incredibly tough, you know. And it's like, what do you do then? What do you do then? How? What do you mean? So you just told me that there's so many people ready to help me, and then when I finally do reach out, the person's not doing that. What would you say to that, actually, Joab?
So if I reach out to somebody
Mm-hmm.
and that person that I thought reached out to wasn't available, what would I do?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if anything, that would kind of just make me regress more back into my shell. And
I'm not
honestly,
gonna lie. Yeah. Same.
yeah, I feel like it would make me feel regress more back into my shell. And as sad as that is, and I feel like I've experienced that before, it would kind of teach me that okay, like this is a result of me trying to get past that first step, and I'll never do that again. And I feel like I've been in that space before because it's like I tried my hardest to put myself out there and it backfired so bad. So bad. And it's like I'll never do that again. I'll never put myself in that position again. Um and that's sad and unfortunate, but at the same time that's so real because that happens. I mean it happened to me, right? So like it was very unfortunate. Um because at the end of the day, that's not the way I need to heal. Like my therapist tells me all the time, like especially for grief, it's like the best way to really find that healing is in the presence of others. Um, and sometimes in the presence of others who are also healing, because healing brings on more healing, right? Um, so like at least the mindset I try to have if that does show up, where it's like I tried to reach out to a person, and it backfired. That person didn't really show up for me in the best way that I needed it. Is to not make that like a checkpoint in my life where it's like, okay, like that's the example. I'll never do that again. I'll try to like frame my mindset of the thinking of like, okay, this is just one person that like didn't show up for me best, but I know there are other people who may have that capacity. Um, And I feel like the hardest part is, especially if you're that person where you haven't really found that community or that group or even that person, you haven't found that person yet. um I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the best place probably to start is a therapist. They may not be your closest friend, um but I think they do have a lot of tools and skill sets that kind of will help, if not help that immediate problem, but help direct you to like how to find a safe community so that you can then tell like your struggles of what and what you're going through to that community or that friend. um but overall it's just difficult. Like it's not as straightforward as it is. Like we know that's the answer, but even still that's not as straightforward.
Yeah, I get you. When you said like I would just like regress, I'm like, facts, real. I have the same mindset too. And that's so funny because I encourage the opposite of it. And and the reason why I do is because, and I also have to remind myself of this, it's like it's I agree with what your therapist says, like you do find healing in community. We also have to be open minded and allow ourselves to be pleasantly surprised. Sometimes that connection and that community comes in the most unexpected places. Like you're just like, I did not see that one coming. I cultivated a friendship with someone that I was like, yeah, if you told me a couple years ago that we were gonna have a level of friendship like to the point like we meet up once a month just to like catch up, I would be like, you're lying. No way. And it's like, no. They ended up being the unexpected person, but the person that I like to say that God kind of like put in front of my face for a time that I needed it. For a time, not that I was like leaning super hard on them, but just the idea of just being there for them and just grabbing a meal, surprisingly, it helped both of us. So I also like the way you said, like just start with the therapist, start with a support group, start small. Heck, just start with going to your local favorite coffee shop and like work your way from there. And if that's it, you're just exposing yourself. It's easier said than done, of course. And I get it. I want to validate the hardships of that, of like genuinely putting yourself out there again after you've been rejected. That's that's tough. That's indeed tough. And I also say too that two things can be true. You were probably rejected in this moment, but that doesn't mean that you yourself is an absolute rejection. Like, like you are worthy of connection. You are worthy of having people be in your community. So this just happened this time, but it just doesn't mean it's gonna happen all the time.
Mm,
Another thing I've learned too in 26 is that I have to remind myself of the actual good things that are happening
true,
and the good
very
things
true.
that have happened. Gratitude. Like I had to really, really remind myself. Like when I came to you, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be a good professor. Like I don't think I'm gonna hold on to it. You're like, I will never forget. You generally were like, what are you talking about? Like you're gonna
Hmm.
be good at this. I'm like, they know I'm a fake. These students are smart. They know I don't know anything.
I
I'm
remember
just
that.
here. I'm just here. Because you're like, what happens if they ask you a question? I was like, I'll definitely be like, I don't know. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. This is wonderful. But you also like in that conversation, you happen to remind me of like all of the things that I have accomplished, I have done. And it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this like episode, like when my therapist was like, and you will not rake that poor girl through the coals, aka me, my younger self. Like you just will not do that. I had to remember like that young girl and I have been through and like how we've overcame. And I have to constantly remind myself of that. And it's like we've overcame a lot. We've overcame a lot emotionally here. Do I still have my moments of like, insecurities? For sure. Do I still have my moments of like I still got that negative narrative, or this is the I'm projecting, or this is the view that I want to have? 1000%. And at the same time, I do have plenty of moments that have taught me otherwise and shown me that like, no, I am capable. I have done
Mm,
this. And so it's good. It's good for us to remember the good things that have happened.
For sure.
You created a group, Joab, for a group that you've always wanted. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and and it's even funny too, because even with the group, there are still moments where it's like, dang, all these topics that we talk about, um, like even so, like we've been on this recurring theme of imposter syndrome and how it shows up for men, and like we've been tackling it from like how syndrome shows up in every like area of a man's life. So it could be in his identity, it could be in his work, it could be in his relationships. We've been tackling it from every different avenue, and what we're realizing is like a lot of beautiful things, right? But even when we prepare those sessions, like me and Clifton both are just like, dang, I don't know if the guys will like it, or if like it'll hit for the guys. Like I don't know if it's like, like if we're gauging and structuring like the topics as best as we can, like real like practical, like a real application of imposter syndrome as we're planning for a topic about imposter syndrome. But it's crazy because like like it's that fear, right? That fear of like stepping into something new that you're not familiar with. um it it's going to be there, unfortunately, but at the same time I think it speaks to your character for you to step through that or step in that. um yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing to experience for sure. And again, going back to the theme of growth, like it definitely grows you when you step into that. It grows your confidence, it grows your capacity to be vulnerable with even with yourself, because you're stepping into something that's completely new. Darian, I could only imagine when you first stepped into that first class and you had to give that talk of introducing yourself and like what's the layout for the class. I can imagine all that was just fresh and new. um but again, you're here a year later or 2 semesters later, and it's like you made it through the other side, right?
I know. I'll never forget that first class, that first introduction. Mind you, I didn't make it to the first class. I remember I was coming back from Italy. I
Oh
literally
wait, yes. I forgot. Yep, you did have to postpone it. Yep.
not even. I had someone cover. I didn't make it to my first class. That was so funny. And I
Jeez.
like show up the next week and I'm like, "Sup, I'm Professor Santana. You can call me Professor Darian or Darian. Keep it respectful. Also, y'all are adults." That literally said that. I was like, y'all are adults, so you already know the expectations and such for the school and all that. So I uphold the same expectations. So yeah, let's do this. It was like the most awkward
I
introduction.
bet. I bet.
Sorry, I digress from the amazing point that you were making.
No, listen, that was exactly part of the point. Like it was awkward. it was a hard transition, right?
But I was struggling with imposter syndrome too. I struggled with it bad, like
Hmm.
the entire year. I'm like, they're gonna find me out. I think Maya Angelou said that. She's like, after she wrote like her 11th book or something, she's like, this is when they'll find me out. Like this is when they'll
Hmm.
know that I'm like a fake. I'm summarizing. I'm paraphrasing the quote, and I'm like, yes, Dr. Angelo, I felt the same way. I feel the same way. They're gonna find me out.
Hmm.
But y- yeah, but at the same time, it's like, no, they're not gonna find out because you're gonna show them exactly who you are, and it's just going
Hmm.
to equate to that, to why you are where you're at. And also, listen, to like kind of wrap this up. When God has plans for you, and He's answering a prayer, and He's putting you in a position that is gonna elevate you, that's gonna expand on who you are, right, and gonna give you more power, you better believe it. It's because you are intended to be there.
Hmm.
It wasn't someone else. It wasn't anyone else. It wasn't a mistake. God doesn't make mistakes. You were intended to be there.
Yeah.
So we really need to hold on more to that energy of like, oh no, I was intended to be here. This is happening. This is going
Hmm.
forth. It's clear. The signs are clear. So I am meant to be here. Just period. Like
Right.
could have been someone else. If it was someone else, they would have given the job to someone else. I was legit meant to be here. And I had to have a little bit of that. I had to hold on to a little bit of that energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it reminds me of, and I kept hearing that this week. But I think back to that verse, I believe it was in Second Corinthians, where I think Paul was asking God to like remove this thorn from his side, because it's like he's in this place, but like it's also difficult for him. And God kind of responds and just says like, my grace is sufficient unto you. And it's like, if you're in this space for a reason, like absolutely he can deliver you from this space, or like you can move on to a new space. But if you're there and your faith believing, then best believe like he's gonna provide for you. Like his grace is sufficient for you. Um and it may be difficult, and I feel like everything may contradict, like what's going on in your life may contradict like what you believe in, but just know still that like his grace is still sufficient for you. Like, and that is enough, because he provides everything that you need in those moments. um, and I feel like we're both testaments of that. Still, again, still doesn't erase the pain, the discomfort, because that's still going to be there, of course, right? But again, two things can be true. Like you can have the discomfort and have his grace be sufficient and have him provide for you. Like those two absolutely can coexist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some of many folks who I work with know dialectical thinking. Two
Mm-hmm,
things
mm-hmm,
can be true. Absolutely. So, what is the expectation for this season, Joab? I don't think you and I really talked about that, but I think
mm-hmm,
you and I are setting a tone here. I think you're setting we set the foundation of where this could go, and I think it's just going to be more talks about this. Like we don't have it together. We don't. Joab and I have never claimed to be experts of any field. That's not what this podcast is about. It's just two people having a conversation over a microphone and having hopefully more conversations with other people um, about this thing called life, about this thing about faith, community, and mental health. And just we're just chatting. We're just talking. And we're hoping that these conversations indeed will be a blessing to you and give you some insight. But I think that we just kind of set the tone a little bit for season 3, which is just like we're growing
mm-hmm,
and we're just gonna talk about how we're growing, our
mm-hmm,
our our steps forwards and our step backs, and that's it.
for sure.
What do you think? Do you think
I
that that's a pretty fair foundation or whatnot,
I
whatever the word
yeah,
is?
I definitely agree. Like growing and the growth. I want to add one thing too, and I think this is a big thing
Yeah.
and a hard thing too. Growth also looks different, and it may not look
Ah.
like what you were used to. Because if someone were to tell me when I graduated, like, oh, like I'd be in this mindset or in this mental space, I'll be like, how? Like, that's like literally night and day. But it was night and day. Darian, I don't mean to speak for you, but I could only assume if someone were to tell you that you'd be running your own practice and being an adjunct professor, how would you feel?
I'd be like, oh, are we talking about 20 years from now? Because that was the goal.
Right.
No, like
Right.
legit, just that was the goal. That was like the dream 20 years from now. I said, "Oh Lord, you decided to speed up the plans a little bit. You decided to speed up." I no, like if you told me this time last year that I would be doing this, I'd be like, huh, "Okay."
Right.
But I'd be like, "All right, like sure. Oh, that's great." I would dream. I'd be like excited, and then I'd be like, "Oh, let's be realistic. What are the chances of that happening?"
Hmm. Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
mind you, you know the story of how this job came about, and like I think you would say like it was so God ordained. Like I wasn't even looking for it.
Mm-hmm. No, literally, literally. If anything, I think it came by phone. Did it not, or email?
Yeah, it came by phone. I was on vacation.
Yeah, yeah.
and I was getting ready to take the next vacation. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hello, I missed my first class because I was literally coming back from a trip, like to a trip that I was like, I'm not postponing this. Like, this trip is happening. I literally said this in the job interview. I was like, I'm
Yes.
going on this. And they're like, but you'll have access. I was like, yes, but I'm gonna be there and I'll deal with everything when I get back. And I literally, I had to, I had to like throw in a very like firm boundary setting
Mhm.
email, and well received. I have to admit, shout out to the school, well received, well received. But I'm like, no, I'm in Florence right now. Can't do anything for you. Like it, yeah. Sorry, I'm digressing because I was just thinking about that
No.
time. It was just God ordained. That's it. That's all
Mm-hmm.
I have to say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And exactly to the point. I mean, you did not expect things to pan out the way they did. Um, but at the end of the day, it's like we're all growing. We're all, even you and I, we're growing together. We're going in our own ways. And I think when it comes to this podcast too, like this again, this, and I think we say this all the time. This podcast is an extension of us.
Yeah,
So
it
if
really
we're
is.
growing, yeah, if it's like if we're growing, that means this podcast is also going to grow. Um, it may look different, but at the end of the day, like we're always growing, and this podcast is going to grow. So, yeah, I think for this season, it sets that foundation of like growth.
So I think it would be great if for future guests we ask them that question: How have you grown? What is some
I,
growth that you've seen?
I like that, like that end of each episode.
Look at that. The ideas are coming, Joab. Brace
All
yourself.
right, well,
I'll just add it to the share note. I won't even text you. I'll just add it to the share note.
that's fair. We gotta brush off the cobwebs for that shared note.
Okay. Let's stop it here because we have uh more conversations will be had. Like
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
coming. Um we're happy to be back. So for those of you who have been rocking with us since the beginning, I mean, I'm talking about when we were on the Zoom platform. Joab and I, we were literally reminiscing about how our
Yeah.
setup was intense in the beginning. But for those of you who are just tuning in, like, welcome to the Be in Tune podcast. So y'all take good care of yourself. Remember to be in tune. Let me actually expand on what that means. I think it's good to give like a bit of a refresher on that. Uh, being tuned means being locked in, being tuned in to your higher power. For us, it's our higher power. For us, it's being locked into God. For you, and that may be something different. That's okay. We don't judge, right? But for us, this is what it is to be locked into God, locked into our people, and locked into our purpose. Any final words there, Joab?
No, I honestly would say, definitely want to say for people who've been rocking with us for like the first two seasons, season three, man, it's crazy that like to get to this point, but we appreciate the support, and love. And I know you were saying, Darren, that a lot of people were asking you like, about season three. And like, even for me, like a lot of people were just like reaching out like, oh, like, when is season three coming out?
Did you see
Um,
the chat? Did you see the chat? The BTM chat?
I wasn't even gonna address that. I was just gonna let that rock.
I saw it. Both you and I had the same mindset. Both you and I had the same mindset. Because I saw it. I went, first of all, I wasn't even there that night. And then I'm going to ask you this like when we get off. Like, what did you say for someone to just write that randomly in the chat?
I could address that right now. I didn't say anything. That was random.
Really?
Random. Yes.
I
Yes.
thought, okay, so for context, I know we were just wrapping up, but for context, like, Job is out here doing I think it's fair to say like one night for BTM, like
Mm-hmm.
a session per se,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or a service. Thank you. Jeez Lord, I almost said class group. I literally almost listed everything that I do, and I was like, what is it called? And you were leading out. And so I
Mm-hmm.
saw that in the flyer, which by the way I was super proud. I should have. My bad. I forgot to double
Thank
heart
you.
the.
Y-
But very proud, very proud, very proud.
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
like,
Thank you. Thank you.
I couldn't tune in, but I was like, it's gonna be great. Which someone
Mhm.
asked, is it gonna be recorded? So I was like, it is recorded, so I will definitely see it. But in that same question, they go, they not only tagged Joe up, they tagged me. I said, first of all, I didn't even make a guest appearance. I wasn't even there. I was like, what did Joe? So I meant to ask you, and it's so crazy that I'm asking you now on a recorded episode. I didn't even ask you before. What
I'm
did you
crying.
say?
That's
And now you're telling me you said nothing?
I said so two parts. I said nothing, and the person I don't think even was in that call, so they don't know what was said. So again, just completely random. So
Did they think that that flyer meant it was us? Did they think it was like a B and Tude?
I don't think so. I doubt it. I doubt it. I think that was like strictly like BTM service. Like, yeah, I highly doubt that. I think they were again just like how everyone else was kind of asking. I think that person was also just asking because like it's been a while since I gave a BTM service talk. So they're probably just like, oh, like speaking of recordings and speaking of Joab doing talks, whatever happened to the podcast between Joab and Darian? So I'm assuming that's how it went. So
And tagged. I
tagged,
went
right?
into the chat. I was looking for something else, and I said, "I'm tagged for what?" And I read it,
Mm,
and I said, "I think I tossed the phone. I just like I couldn't. I didn't want to address it."
no lie. Yeah,
Ah.
I can't. I ended that talk Friday night. I saw it. I'm like, let me just put that to the side. I just finished a hour and a half talk. I think I'll address this whenever I can. But
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
said it's the Sabbath. I can't address this.
stop. I can't. I cannot, Darren. I cannot.
Ah, all right, friend. This was good. It was good to be
Mhm.
back.
It does. It definitely does. Definitely does.
Yes. All right, everyone. We're gonna let you go. So remember, be in tune. Peace.